to user, right? So this is a hierarchy. We have seen that, and we have seen in coming to the finance, we have the same thing. In place of security profile, we have something called FSCM data security policies. It will be attached to the job role, and data security policies combined together as a data role. We have seen that as well, and there we have also seen this flow from installations to provisioning of the environment to the first access, initial access what we got, and then creating the implementation user, and then creating the application user. So in broadly, we have defined, we have three kinds of users created in the system. It means first time once instance is provisioned to us, then first access, user access. Once the instance is provisioned, once we got the initial access, I just drafted that in a different document.
లేదు వస్తాడు లేట్కి వస్తాడా వద్దంటున్నాడు బయట తినేసి వస్తాడేమంతే ఆ టైంకి వచ్చేస్తాడు పడుకునే టైంకి.
Right. So as I said, we have first time user. First time user will have only one login. Typically Oracle gives that username and password in email, one login. So typically the administrator in our company will get this username, right? Once the administrator will get this username, then what we need to do later? What we need to do later, once we have the initial user first time access, okay, once we get the provisioning user, then typically we need to do the enterprise structure setup, because when Oracle gives the environment, that point of time Oracle don't know what is our legal entities or business unit divisions. So I have to do the enterprise structures setup. Okay, those users are called implementation users. Okay, this administrator typically creates the implementation user. Example, if you are implementing HR, HCM implementation, then typically you have to create one user, something like HR implementation or anything, something like that. And if you are implementing finance implementation user, something like that. Okay, typically what they will do, this implementation user will create enterprise structures related to HR, and this implementation user create enterprise structures related to finance, something like that, right? Once they create the enterprise structures, we have the structures already, then typically what we can do, we can do the real implement of the offerings in sense, sorry, give me 1 second. I think we have an issue with the instance. Right, so once the enterprise structures are set up with the implementation users, then typically we have enterprise structures are ready, means we have the skeleton is ready. Once we have the skeleton ready, then what we need to do, typically we need to start our real implementations. Like if you want to implement finance, then we have to start account general ledger implementation, account payable implementation, account receivable implementation. If you are a if you bought license for HR, then once you have your basic enterprise structures got ready, like your company structures are ready, as I said, legal entities, business unit, departments, divisions. If once they are ready, then what you need to do, you need to start implementing your real modules. If it is HR, then implementing payroll, implementing absence, implementing compensation. So that thing will follow, right? So typically once you have the enterprise structures got created with the implementation users, then the next step is called the creation of the functional user. Functional user, nothing but the real users who will do the real implementation of the offerings that we got licensed. Example, if you got HR implementation, then payroll, implementation functional user, compensation implementation functional user. If you bought finance, GL implementation functional user, AP implementation functional user, ER implementation functional user. I mean, it's not necessary that we have to create individual users. I mean, typically, if it is organized, if it is structured, we can create functional users like that. So the intention behind this diagram is, once you got the first time user, one login, implementation user to create the foundation. What are the foundations? Foundations are, these are the foundations. Foundation of the core components of human capital management, foundation of the application security, application access control governor for finance modules, function setup user. Once these four components are being set up by the implementation user, it means the core components are ready. Once the core components are ready, once the infrastructure is ready, the next step is to do the real implementation, real functional implementation. That user is called functional user, basically. So I think we had discussed all these things yesterday, last week. So we have the first access user, then we create implementation user, and we have seen how to create implementation user. We went to the security console and add user account, and we have created one user account yesterday with rb.hcm under hcm impl1. We have created an implementation user. Changed. We have created implementation user. Where we create implementation user, we went to tools and we went to security console. In the security console, we have the users. We have the users. In the users, we have added user account here. So what? So we created rb.hcm-impl1. This is the user we created, and we have given the role as application implementation consultant and IT security manager. These are the two typical roles we usually give to the implementation consultants. These two things will give almost all the accesses in the system. With these two roles, they could able to do anything in the system. So these two things will be given to the implementation user. Okay. So once this implementation user is created, then we have seen this flow chart basically. Once the implementation user is created, the next thing is called functional user. Who is the functional user? Functional user is the one who do the real module implementations. Okay. So now when we come to the real implementers, real functional users, here is the point from where the human being will start. Okay, a user will become a functional user only that when that person is identified as a human being. Okay, before this, for implementation user, it is not necessary that we type when we create this implementation user. If you remember, this username we haven't associated to any person. We just created a plain username which will have access to these two roles. These two roles will give access to many of the functionalities. So here we are not associating this username to any employee, to any customer, to any supplier, to any other vendor, or to any organization. We are not attaching it to anything here. Okay, it's a plain username with administrative access. If anyone with this username, if they log in, then they can do anything. I mean, most of things in the system. Okay, but here is no association is there with a human being. Okay, if we need to start the real implementation, if we need to create a functional user, if we need to start a functional user, then we have to attach the functional user to a human being. Okay, now in reality, let's come back to reality. What happens? Okay, we have a Rainbow organization. Example, I'm saying we have a RBI Rainbow Institute. Now, a Rainbow Institute decided to implement Fusion. Currently, Rainbow Institute has their example HR application in .NET. Example, I'm saying .NET custom code. They have that in their own company, and they want to move to Fusion. Okay, then again they'll go and talk to Oracle. They'll get license. Then our Rainbow Institute administrator, whoever, they will get one user account. Right? Once they get the user account, then they will create the implementation user. And the implementation user, typically what they will do, they will just create the foundation enterprise structures. Now, again, coming back to implementation user, typically who will be the implementation user? Maybe Rainbow Institute may ask help for someone outside the company. Maybe let us say they ask help from Accenture. Let us say, hypothetically it never happens, but let us say Accenture, they ask help from Accenture. So Accenture, what they will do, they will send some consultants saying that, hey, go and implement it. So let us say we got 3-4 consultants. Okay. Now, as at the beginning, as we don't have anything there, we wanted a plain implementation username, as they say HCMIMPL, whatever. We will create it. And what they will do, they will create the implementation user, and they will use the implementation user, create the foundation structures. They created it. Once they created it, then they have to do the real implementations. At that point of time, what they will do, what Rainbow Institute will do, will create this Accenture people as a contractors in the system. They will create them as a vendors in the system. Okay, let us say let's go like this. Now I am let us say assume this is the administrator, and this administrator created the implementation user. Who is the implementation user? RB dot is the RB dot HCM IMPL1 is the implementation user. Okay. Now this implementation user, what will do? Let's say the password that is changed. Okay, so what this implementation user will do, will go ahead, create enterprise structures, go ahead into the function setup manager and create the foundation. Foundation is created. Okay, once foundation is created, what they have to do next, they have to create the functional users who will do the real implementation. Before creating functional user, as I said, the functional user should be associated to a human being. Okay, then who will do the real functional implementation? Accenture people will do the implementation for the Rainbow. So what this administrator will do, typically create the Accenture consultants as a vendors or as a contractors within the company. How they will create it? They will create to go to My Workforce and okay, so let me add that. Okay, this person doesn't have the hiring employee access, so let me give that access as well. Don't worry how this access is coming up. We are going to have a separate sessions on these roles. What are these roles? How access is coming up?
These are data roles, right?
Yes, that's true.
Okay.
Okay, but I'm going to talk about that. What is data role and how it is coming up? But it's data role basically.
Okay.
I just associated data role. The data role will give this user access to create an employee basically. Okay, so it takes a couple of take a moment to affect Yeah, so we got the new person now. So I'm going to new person and I'm going to, so Accenture is what? Accenture is not an employee. Accenture consultants came to implement the application for me. So I should not hire them as an employee. I will hire them as a contractor who will work temporarily and then they'll go away. Okay, so I'm adding them as a contractor, and where they're going to implement it, let us say they're implementing for US first. Okay, let us say it means they are going to implement for the US legal employer. Okay, so these are actually, this is a functionality, so nothing to worry about what are these meaning for. You just need to understand that the initially the after the functional implementers, we are hiring them as a contractors, as simple as such. So I'm going to give them name Accenture HR implementer. I will just say that. I mean, you can give any name. I just gave it like that. So I'm just giving more information. The legislation does not exist. Okay. Okay, so I'm not sure. There may be some behind, some setups are not yet done functionally on the system. Let me hire them as an employee instead. Okay, for our things to move instead of troubleshooting why the issue coming up. So I'm just hiring them as an employee. Example, assume that it is a contractor employees. So fundamentally something is wrong with this. I will try this. If it won't work, then I'm going to stop it now. Okay, so assume that. Okay, assume that once we created the fundamental structures, then we're going to create a contractor. Once we create the contractor, then that contractor typically become the functional implementer. That is assumed. Okay, so now in our case, let us assume that let me open up. Okay, let us assume that a person is there. Let us say some John is going to implement payroll for us. Okay, so we are hiring John as a contractor. Okay, now we need to give this John a permission to implement payroll. Okay, so how do we give the permissions to this person? Okay, so for that, typically what we need to do to give permissions to that person, we should not go from the tools and security console. We can go that, typically we should not go from there. Typically, instead of going from tools, security console, and searching the user and giving the access, typically what we need to do, instead of that, we have to go and access the person record, go to my workforce, typically where you can access that person record, go to my workforce, go to person management and search for that employee. Let us say some person as John. Search for that employee. Example, Roberts John is there. He is the person. Okay, just remember the navigation. But anyway, I'm going to give the steps. Search for this person and go to the actions. In the actions, in the person and employment, we have something called manage user account. In this manage user account, we have to assign the respective user. Example, if he is implementing HR, then HR administrator access. If this person is implementing finance administrator access. If this person is implementing supply chain management, SCM implementation or SCM administrator access. We have to give that. Right? I think someone has So don't know how to erase it. Okay.
Lakshmi, one doubt.
Uh-huh.
Can you go to home screen once? The application. So here we can create the user accounts from the two, either from the security console or from
Yes.
the My Workforce. So
Yes.
what are the between two differences? My Workforce means employees or otherwise.
Yes.
Security console means just without human being creating the administrator permissions or like that.
Exactly. So without human being, if you are creating the user, you have to create from the tools and security console. If
Okay,
it,
tools.
yes, if it is some human being is also assisted too, then you have to come to My Workforce and manage user account.
Okay. And last doubt, if I suppose new employees joining in my company, so from where I want to get either tools or My Workforce.
Okay. If a new employee is joined to a company, so I'm going to talk about this in detail again. So if new
Okay.
employee is joining to a company, then what happens? So typically, these tools and security console, whatever access is there, this tools and security console is very secure. No one should have access to this.
Okay.
In any company, the access to the security console should be there only for one or two administrators.
Okay.
Okay. Now, but My Workforce is actually accessible to most of the HRs, maybe HR of their own countries or HRs of their own divisions, who are responsible for the people in that country or people in that division. So what we are doing, that administrators of that country, that administrators of the division, we are giving them responsibility of those people to give any kind of access. So that's how we are saying that HR, what they will do, once that HR go to that person management, the HR of that country can only search for the employees of that country, and they can give access permissions to those people only.
Okay.
That is the reason we are asking to, we can do from there as well, whatever we can do here. But I'm saying this should be the way to do that. So
From My Work.
yes, My Workforce and manage user account. So I just giving you the navigation, but actually we are going to talk about that in detail in later point of time too. My whole intention is the functional user management. These functional users, they have to be created from the manage user account from the person management. Or when you hire an employee, when you hire a contractor, even hire an employee, hire a contractor's process flow, train stop, even there also we can add the security role. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me log out and log in as administrator and try hiring an employee one more time for your case. I'll be doing as a real administrator. Okay, so what I'm doing, this person is a real administrator, HR specialist, who is responsible for the whole company actually. So he has no limitation for any specific country. He can access anyone across this company. This is dummy instance, whatever we have. Okay, so this person, typically how this person will hire, will go and hire new person. Let me try one more time hiring the contractor, because this person is a real person that might have every access. Okay, let me try one more time. Sure, implementer 1, resume that. Okay, so next. Yes, so yep, this person has complete access. That's why he could able to go next. The previous user, whatever we have created, that user may not have the right data roles yet. Okay, right. So what I'm doing, I'm adding a contractor. Okay, so administrator, adding an implementation contractor, Accenture implementation contractor, who is going to help implementing the HR functional modules. Assume that. For contractors, you don't need to give any valid address. You can give any dummy address because we usually won't capture anything. So I'm just giving some dummy address, probably our office address. Okay, and it's actually HR hiring process. So no need to worry on the functionality. This is how hiring happens in reality. Okay, you can just think of like that. Don't need to worry about how these fields are coming up. We just understand that we are hiring a candidate. While hiring a candidate, how the security work. That's all we need to worry, right? So go next. In this fourth screen, basically what happens where we enter salary, we have something called role requests. Here what happens here is whenever you add a contractor, based on your setup, default role will be assigned. By default, some role will be assigned. Okay, if no roles are assigned, then typically what this person can do, this Curtis can do, this Curtis can add some more roles to this user. They can add plus, and there will be many roles. Any of those roles can be assigned to this implementation person. So before creating this person, as I said in my previous sessions, before implementing this, all these core components will be set up by the implementation user. One of the components is cloud application security. What does it mean? All the roles are created by the time. Once implementation user created the security, all we need to do, we need to assign the security to this person. If you think that this person is going to implement HR, then typically I am going to assign HR administrator role, something like that. I can assign HR administrator role, and I can assign more roles. Maybe I can assign, maybe this person is also responsible for doing compensation administration as well, compensation module as well. I can assign compensation administrator as well. Or this person is not responsible for that, but we are going to hire some another person to do that. Then we can create that person and assign this comp administrator. Or if this is the person who is doing that, then I'm going to assign compensation role as well to this person. Who is doing that? The HR specialist. Who is the HR specialist of whole company, who can access anything across the company. Okay, I'm doing that. So this is another way. In reality, this is how it works. If you need to give special access to any person, we have to access here. So how these role requests, how this list is coming up here, what list will come up here, what are these roles, we are going to talk about in our subsequent sessions in detail. What each role meant for, and why only this list is coming up here, what happened to other list, and what are the requestable roles, what are non-requestable roles, what are data roles. We're going to talk about everything in detail. Just understand in reality how it works. That's it. We created this user, and this user will have some these roles assigned. That's it. Okay, and submit. This role is created. So it means we have created the functional user now. So the functional user will do the real implementation. Okay. So
Lakshmi, this is so different from EBS, right? This is completely different.
Yes.
In EBS, you would define a user, and then you will assign an employee to the user, correct?
That's true.
But here, this you're actually going in the define whatever contingent worker employee screen.
Yes.
And you're adding roles to it.
Correct. It's
and it automatically becomes a user.
Yes. So the class or criteria, whatever it is there, it means Oracle is creating a default username for the person.
Now, how to assign this contingent user to the we created one user account, right? Then we have to map it, I think, right?
So okay, so in this flow, you haven't seen the username of whatever person I hired. Okay, let me pull up the person. So Accenture HRIMPL, whatever person I hired, I have assigned these roles to this user, but we haven't seen the username of this person yet. So what we have some rules in our system which will be executed to create the username by default. If I go to my main as user account, this person will have some username. This is the username, hrimpl1.accenture. So the first name dot last name. So first name dot last name username will be created with these roles assigned. So everything happened in one train stop. If we compare with EBS, we create the person record first, and then we create a user account. In the user account, we attach this person to that user account, and then add responsibilities to that user account. Two different screens there. Here it is a one train stop, automatically creates the username. And if you wanted to give additional roles, whoever is hiring that person can add more roles at the same train stop and get it done. Number two, if that whoever is hiring that person is not at giving any proper securities, then what they can do, they can contact the security administrator of your company and request to add roles. Then security administrator, what that security administrator can do, go to tools, security console, go to tools, security console. In the security console, search for that user. This person may or may not come by now. Basically, these are two different periods. It is there already. So we have this user already now. This person, the security, our administrator can open it. If you see this, now you can see the worker name, person number, business unit, all this stuff, along with the roles. Okay, and even our company administrator has a provision to add more roles here. If you wanted to, you can add role and give more roles here. If you see here, you can see many more number of. Okay, how to give something. You can see a long list of values here, but the list there is different anyway. So because this administrator will have more access to has access to pull more number of roles and assign to the user. Okay, so yes, so typically what we are narrowing it down, whoever is hiring the person, whoever responsible for person at that point of time while hiring, they have a provision to give the required roles. Okay, and later point of time they can also modify it, or they can contact company security administrator to have more roles. Okay. Yeah.
Where is like getting differentiated that this functional user implementation?
Okay, right. That's a good question though. So here same screen. Let me open the one I created. So for this one, just note down these two roles. Whatever I created: compensation administrator, HCM administrator. My compensation administrator means, my meaning is compensation administrator means the person who has ability to implement the compensation module in my company. When I say HCM application administrator means, it means this is the person who has ability to implement the HR module within my company. Okay, just understand like that. If I open my implementation user, this implementation user has, this one is added before, so ignore this one. Think of this too. IT security manager. What IT security manager will do? IT security manager is not implementing any module here. IT security manager not implementing HR, not implementing finance. What IT security manager can do? IT security manager can create a user, create a roles, create a security, and as per the company requirements. Application implementation consultant, what this person can do, this person won't implement HR and this won't implement finance like that. This person is going to create the company structures like legal entities, divisions, hierarchies between the legal entities and divisions, business units. Think of the company structure. They will create the company structures here, and here they will create the security here. So implementation consultant, the initial implementation user is just used to create security and create the foundation data. Whereas the functional user is all about, not about the foundational data, not about the security. It's all about implementing the real functionality, implementing the compensation module. It's a module. Implementation of the module has some set of configurations, or implementing the core HR, or implementing some HR specific functionalities, self-service, many self-service kind of functional. That's a different kind of setups. Think of a account payables implementer who has a different set of steps to follow to implement account payables. Okay, hope you understand the difference between implementation user and functional user.
So it just means like different roles based on that.
Exactly. Yes. Different roles. That's very different.
Like it's not like if we want to add that IT security role here, it will allow, right?
Yes. Absolutely, to allow it. Yeah, that's true. In this screen, it allow you because you are in security console. But if you go to manage user account, if you go for my workforce, and if you go to person management, Accenture, and if you go to manage user account, you can't add the IT security role here. You won't allow here. You won't have access to here. We have given this whatever, whoever is responsible, whatever HR is responsible, we will allow only some set of roles to get requested. How those set of roles coming as requested roles, we're going to talk about in later sessions. I'm just giving you what is the difference between here and there. Security console is full level, and here is actually limited level, which we define based on our frequent needs. Okay. Anyway, we're going to talk about that in detail later. Let's understand that. Okay, with that we know the first time user, implementation user, and functional user. Okay. Now we will go further into the real, what is the role, how to create the role, how the screen permissions are coming up, what is the fundamental difference behind that. If we know that, then it will be more connected. Okay, so let's go that. Before going there, last time someone is asking me, what are the tables behind that? Even that's a very good question. As we are in the technical sessions, we should know what are the background tables for these things. Okay, so let me do that. For that, I'm going to give a little bit funda about the reporting in the Fusion applications. Okay, so it is going to take all our day-to-day remaining time, the reporting and how to write the queries and how to pull the data. Okay, so let me go to reporting, and I'm going to stop the security for a while now. So we have I'm opening my PPT for reporting. Okay, I'm going to give you some background about as we are in the SaaS instance. This SaaS instance doesn't have we won't be having a like how we connect from Toad, right? From Toad, we cannot connect to the we cannot query the data from Toad or from any tools in this SaaS model. We don't have that level of access. Okay, we cannot connect it through Toad, or we cannot connect it through a SQL Navigator or SQL Developer. We don't have that luxury here. Okay, how we need to query the data in this instance? Okay, for that we have to learn something about the Fusion reporting tools. That's what I'm going to talk about now. Okay, so let me open my PPT for reporting tool. it is opening up, if you have any questions, you can shoot me. Right. Okay. So now what my intention behind switching from security to reporting tools is we are creating a user where the data will store. We are assigning roles to the user where that association is going. So we will also learn the behind the scenes, the tables behind these functionalities, so that we can it's like covering the front end and back end parallelly. Okay. So to cover that, querying the data and pulling the tables, what I was saying is, as we are the SaaS model means, as I said, application, database, everything will be maintained by the Oracle. Okay, as Oracle maintains the database, Oracle won't give us the permission to hit their database directly using our legacy tools like our SQL Navigator tool, like that. We cannot hit directly. Then how can we pull the data from the database of that? For that, what Oracle has told, we are going to offer you some reporting tools, use the reporting tools and pull the data. That's how you need to do. Okay. So how to access the reporting tools in the Fusion application? Okay. So we have to go to BI server for that. To go to the reporting in the Fusion applications, typically what we can do, we have three ways of doing it. First thing, if you through URL, you can take the URL of this, copy it up to demos.com, go here and type analytics. It will land into the BI homepage, Oracle Business Intelligence homepage. That is step. That is one way. Other way, go here, go to tools. In the tools, we have something called reports and analytics. Click on reports and analytics. You will be going to this reports analytics page. So we're going to talk about this my folder, shared folders in detail later. Either you can click on this catalog. Catalog is nothing but a folder structure in the BI server. You click on catalog, again you land into the BI server homepage. Step 2. Other way is go to home, and again you can go to SQL Navigator, and same thing, whatever steps we are doing here, same thing in the more in the tools. We have something called reports and analytics. You click here, and same thing, you'll be landing in this kind of page. There are many ways of doing it. Okay. Now, once we have this, once we land into this BI server, basically this is a different server. Once we land into the BI server, it is the place where we can write the queries. So it has, we are going to have an in-depth session on what all each component is. Okay. But if you need to write the queries here, the place where we need to write the query is actually BI Publisher data model is the place where we can write our native SQL queries. Okay, BI Publisher data model. Where is the BI Publisher data model? It will be in two places. One is publish reporting, more data model, or go to new publish reporting and data model. Two places will be there. Okay, click on anything. This data model is nothing but, if anyone has been in our RDF reports, report builder, where actually we create data models, right? It's the same thing as that, if anyone has seen that. Or else it's a typical data model where actually we can go ahead and write your queries. Okay, we can create it. We need to create data set here. In the data set, we have to write down the queries. That's how we need to do basically. Okay. So it is a place where we need to write the query. How to write the query here? We have to go and create a data set here. Okay. To create a data set, go here and create a SQL query. What are the remaining things? I'll talk about that later. It's a different topic. Okay. Here we need to write our query. Okay. Before writing the queries, let us try to understand, for our scenario, what are the different tables we can access to. So all the user data will go into PR_users table. This is the table where all the usernames for every user, there will be one record in the Fusion application as a username. Okay, and for every user we are associating roles, right? So for that we have another table called roles table. This is the table where we have the mapping between user and roles, but here the mapping will be user ID and role ID. Okay, so with this user ID we go to users table and get the username. But where do we get the role name? For the role name, we have a table called PR_roles underscore DN. DN is actually basically what happens in the roles. Typically, roles won't be stored in the table. Roles will be stored in the LDAP. LDAP basically lightweight directory access protocol. So from there, they flatten the roles and brings into the tabular format actually. So PR_roles_DN, it's a data actually get denormalized from LDAP via identify governance framework APIs. We will talk about that later. So and will be stored in this table. So our table, our role names, it will have the role ID and role name. It will be like that. Okay, so you can use these three tables to associate what is the username, what is the role name associated to that person. Okay, if our role has that multi-language, sometimes our role names we can create in different languages. In that case, we have to use the DN_TL table, where actually this if we create one role in multiple languages, if you wanted to pull the role name by language, you have to use this table where language equal to VS, something like that. Okay, so that is another thing. Now, so we know username. So with these tables, we know from here we can pull the username. From here we want to pull the role name. What if you wanted to know the? So every role is attached to a person, right? So what if we know to the person? If you want to know the person name, for that, typically most common way of doing it using the
person name is nothing but employee name, I can say.
Can be employee, can be a contractor,
Contingent, exactly.
can be a can be a vendor, can be a supplier, can be a customer, can be anything. So if it is if we know for sure it is person or employee or a contractor, we can refer the HR tables. We have something called Peral PeopleF table. We can
that is there in EBS as well. So
correct. We can refer that. Or the better way to refer is, as we know that username can be attached to anyone, right? As I said, employee, or can be if you use supply chain management, maybe suppliers or customers, can be anyone. Then typically it's better to use Hajat_parties table. So this is the table. This Hajat_parties table stores information about unique, represents any party uniquely. That party can be a person or an organization or a group, can be anything. So typical Hajat_parties is a better way to store the data. Okay, so here we can get the first name and last name. Okay, so these are the tables typically which we need to use. So before writing a query, I will just give a name for this. So user roles, something like that. Okay, now data source.
Lakshmi,
Yeah.
in this application, like the way you're finding first name and last name, is there any IDs will be tagged for this? Through the ID also we can
Yes.
search only.
Yes, we can do that as well.
Okay.
We can do that as well. So I gonna when I write the query, basically the mapping between this table and this table is based on some other thing called role global user identifier. Sorry. So you don't need to worry about these things. We have something called what role. User global unique identifier, because for Hajjat parties it stores everything. We need to know some unique identifier, right? Based on this, it will be mapped.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna, so we are able to, we combine this one to this one, this one to this one, and this one to this one. So now we can write the query, right? And before writing the query, okay, we understand the functionality of what needs to be done. Okay, so if anyone has any question, just ask me if you can't understand the foundation. So we have defined the functionality. Now, before writing the query, we have to identify what is our data source. Where are these tables will be available? Data source, nothing but a schema. You can think of like that. With schema, these tables will be available. As most of these are PER table, whenever PER means person, something like that. Whenever PER means most of time is specific to HR. So all these things should go into the HR schema. So we have something called different schemas here. So we have, we can define our own schemas, but own schemas things are different. I'll talk about that. We typically have three schemas here. One is finance, supply chain management, human capital management, CRM, based on licensing available in our instance. Okay, as all these security is specific to HR schema, we have to choose the HR schema here. Then only we can start writing the query, and it is standard SQL. Now I am going to write the query here. So this window is small, and we have write it here. That's even I don't like it, but this is how we have to live with for now. So I'm going to have PR users table as user and PR user roles table, and here I'm going to keep it as a role. Okay, I will keep it for a while, and I won't use this. I will use this translation table. Okay, so I will say user role, and I will say roles table, and Hajjat parties. I will say a party. Okay, we have these three. We have these four tables. Next, first thing what I will do, I need to get the username.
Is there any other way for us to query this table? Because let us say if I'm not sure about the column name.
Yeah, so we have other way too. I'm going to tell that.
Okay.
So difficulty part is first, easier is later. So that's right. Yeah. So because if I say the easier one, people will follow that first. So log in.
Because as you are aware, so directly you are giving the column names and everything straightforward. Yes. But for the person who is starting,
right? That's, yeah. Let me cover that one as well. Okay. So this username, right? So how do I know this username? As I know it, I'm typing it. What if you don't know? So for that, let me introduce you the help of the Fusion. We have something called Fusion Apps OER. Note it down. It's very important. This one. I'm going to give this link to all. I'm just keeping in a chat window. Okay, I'm chat window here. I will email actually. So no worry. So this is a place where actually you can find the help for most of the information. So for all the tables, what Oracle has given the documentation for all the tables here actually. So as we know, all our security related tables in the global human resources, and in that we have the help categorized by the different content. If you want to talk about integration, we have the integration document by each release wise. If it is about reports, we have the documentation by each release. If it is security roles, we have the documentation by each release. We're going to talk about these roles from next session onwards. And if you talk about web services, this is the documentation. If you talk about tables and views, this is the documentation. So release 13 is still developing. So I'm going to click on release 12. Once you click on the release 12, here actually in the development, we have the tables and views for Oracle HCM Cloud, tables and views for common features in Oracle Application Cloud. As our security is more of in the HR schema, tables and views for Oracle HCM Cloud. Here it will give the list of all the tables and all the views. If you expand the tables and if you search for our table name, PR_roles, we have the tables available here. So, what are our tables we define? So, sir, PR users table. If you click this table, it will say that table for storing one record per Fusion system user maps to single NLAP user unless user is deleted in the LDAP. Okay, so you will have the user ID, you have all the information of the table and the explanation for every column name. So you can refer this one and you can type, you can use it in our query. That's why I'm using it. I'm giving, sorry. I will just take the username, copy it, and then.
Lakshmi, small question. So yeah, when we are selecting the data source, no, it's a schema, any one of the schema.
Correct.
So if I am writing the query with the joining of multiple modules, HR with the Vivo or some other module,
then you have to create different data sets and you have to combine them together.
okay, so that means data source will have the feasibility to add multiple sources, right?
I'm going to create, let us say, one data set here and I will save it. I will go here and create one more data set, second data set, and I will combine those two data sets together.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so it's like I will map it. I will show you how to do that. Okay.
Okay.
But I cannot add it here. Okay, so yeah, username. I got the username, and what I want next, I want the maybe when this user is created, probably. So I'll go here and get the creation date. So I'll go here and user.creation date. Okay, and here the table formats are more of Java kind of formats. You have to convert this data into our specific date formats. I'm going to convert it into DD. Okay. So user creation date. Okay, so user is created, and what we want next, we want the maybe role name, right? So role name, where the roles will be. If you, okay, let's say if you see this PR and user_roles, user_roles, what it will do, it will have the user ID and role ID and user role ID, but it doesn't have the username. It is combining the role ID and user ID actually, right? We don't have the role name. So so it means, let us form the where clause as well parallelly, where user_ID should be available in this user_ID. Okay. And I'm going to have the user role dot role_ID is equal to roles dot role underscore ID, because this will have only the role ID, and from this role ID we have to match it to this table and pull the role name. Okay, and role ID. So roles dot role underscore name. So role name, something like that. And then we need to get the we need to map it to the Hajjat parties as well, right? So, and also we need to get the, let me write it down quickly. We want to keep the dead language in ES only. Next language. And so start. Now I want to copy the party. Party dot user GUID is equal to user dot. So yeah, making be able to 1, 2, 3, 4 table. We have 3 conditions,
and there is a party ID, right? Party ID in per users.
Yeah, so that's why I'm capping the user GUID with the party user GUID. I'm not matching by party ID. I'm actually combining by the user GUID. Party ID won't be there in the users table. So why? Users table won't be having the party ID if TCI is available, but I'll rely more on this user GUID, which will be there for sure in the Hajjat underscore parties table.
Okay.
So, and we have the role name, and then we should have the party dot person underscore first underscore name, party dot person underscore last underscore name. I have ready-made queries already in my PPT, so you can refer that. Okay, there is some end somewhere. So if it is end, let me take out this one. I have the documentation already, so nothing to worry. So we have the data, and we also need to filter it by. So we can pull up data and we can view. So typically it will pull the table in the tree format initially. We can pull the data so we can see the user and what are the roles assigned to that user, and what is the first name and what is the last name, like that. So initially we're pulling only 5 rows, and typically what happens in this data model, typically we won't able to pull the complete information here. It's actually sample data only. We can pull up to 200 rows. Okay, we can pull up to 200 rows. We can't pull behind that. Okay, let's pull our
So if data is more than 200 rows, how can?
Yeah, I will tell you that. So Accenture, we have assigned 2 rows, right? Admin view all, and this one, and first name and last name. We assign that. So yeah, these are the rows. These are the tables which we already have in our PPT. It's already there in our PPD, our tables. Okay, so now I'm taking out this condition. Okay, so now I'm going to data. We can view up to 5 rows, and we can by default it's tree view. If you go to table view, and we can say get up to 200 rows. What if you want to get all the data? Okay, we cannot get it here. It's a data model. Data model is all about a model of the data. Okay, so typically there are 2 ways of doing it. Okay, save the data model and create a report. How do you create a report? You can create report in the report builder available in the same application, or create a report in the BI publisher. They have 2 options there. Okay, so for now I am going to create the report in this report builder itself. Okay, so what I will do first, we save the sample data first. For every data model, you have to save the sample data. Save the sample data and save this report as well. I'm saving it. While saving it, what I'm going to do, as I said, we have folder structure in our in the BI server. It is a common structure in every Fusion instance. So for whatever shared data is there, you should go to shared folders. Okay, in the shared folders, they have a list of predefined folder structure. Out of that, Oracle will give one as a custom folder. Give a custom folder. In this, you can keep creating your custom information. Here, I am going to create one folder for our batch. So I'm saying a Rainbow Technical Batch 3. Okay, so I'm creating a folder here. In this folder, I'm going to save my data model. Okay, so how I will save my data model? I will just give the name user security roles. I will say DM data model at the end. I will recommend to give the description appropriately. Okay, data model is created. Now, if we wanted to pull the whole data, then we have to create the report here. Just click on the create report. Here you can create report. If you create the report in BI Publisher, you can upload from here, or if you want to use the report builder, you can do it from here. Okay, so data model is chosen. We got the data. Now we have to create the report builder. If we have 2 options, guide me or use report builder. As we have only 5 columns, I would give the guide me. Click next. Portrait or landscape model. What you want table or chart. I'm going to talk about everything in our reporting sessions as well. So you want portrait or landscape. We have 4 columns. Portrait is good enough. I don't want header or footer. Layout table is good. I don't have anything to show as a chart or pivot data. So I'm going to keep it as a table. Go next. Okay, and here I can choose my data source and data fields. Here I will get my data information here. So I will get the username first. After username, I'm dragging and dropping here. I'll get the role name. Okay, and I will creation date, and also present first name, last name. Okay, and I don't want. Okay, I want and total rows. If you want preview the report, you can preview it. Click on next. And view report and finish. Now we have to save your report. Okay, I will go here and say user security roles RPT report. Okay, so I will say report and then give some description. Okay, so our report is ready now. Okay, so our report will execute by default and it will give our data here. Okay, so now if you want to export data outside, you can do multiple ways. You can go here and export Excel, then your data will be exported to your Excel, and it's already you can schedule this report to run on daily basis. You can do many more things. You can make this report to be delivered to an FTP server. You can make this report to be delivered to scanning machine or printer. We have many things. 23,619 rows for that. Okay, it is a typical way of creating a report in the Fusion applications. Okay, Right. Now the simple way of creating the data model. Any questions till now?
Lakshmi, what is this tool called?
This is called whatever tool I am in. This is BI Publish. It's actually OBIE, Oracle Business Intelligence. In the OBIE, whatever data model report we have to do, they have to do the publish reporting.
Okay. Oh, so actually, this is OBIEE, is it?
Yes.
Website. Okay.
OBIEE, that's true.
It's not a separate. So it's not a separate tool. It is integrated with Fusion then.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. So there's a clause here. OBIEE, I would say OBIEE is a combination of BI Publisher and transaction business intelligence and analytical processing, I would say. So in this OBIEE, whatever data you have to play around, that data should be available in the Fusion only. You cannot pull it from the other party.
So if you have to be an expert on OBIE, then obviously you will need a lot of knowledge on the data model and the underlying tables and...
Not necessarily. Actually, we have a very beautiful concept called analysis reporting.
Yeah.
It is actually no need to have any knowledge on the tables actually.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very easily we can create any kind of report. No need to have any kind of any info information about what table it is, what column it is, nothing like that.
Okay. So it's all like user friendly.
Drag and drop, yes. Yeah.
Good. And sorry, one last question. You know, in the previous versions of Oracle apps, we had technical reference manuals which used to give data model, the complete data model of the module, you know, in a graphical way. Is that kind of documentation available in?
Yep. Have that available as well. I will be sharing you. I have that whole year diagrams of everything.
Oh, lovely. So is it online or do you have it yourself?
So I have it. It's online. I can get it from support portal. Let me open one sample thing. Example. General ledger, basically finance. Looking for this one?
Yeah, absolutely. This is so valuable.
Yeah, so I have this. So we can get it from the support portal. So we can use this to basically the real purpose. Yeah, go ahead.
Will you be able to share this? Because I don't have any access to any support portal
Sure.
right now.
I will share it. No issues. It's a part of our training already.
Yes. So thanks a lot. I mean, will we be able to download this or just view it?
This one I think you can download.
So then in that case you'll have to email it to us, no? Rather than putting it up on the...
Yes, I will. I can email this today. These year diagrams, basically. But I will walk through a couple of year diagrams when I talk about reporting.
Sure. So should we give you our email addresses because you don't have them, no?
I didn't send it to Ravi, so I will ask Ravi to.
Yeah, but then Ravi should send it because generally he does not send it then.
Did you get all the videos till now?
Videos are getting, but we're not getting any PPTs, PDFs. You know, you said the PDFs you will send them.
PDF, he already sent it.
Oh, I didn't receive it. Did he email it?
Yeah, he emailed to me, but you can check with.
No, did he email only you or?
He emailed to me only. Yeah.
No, even I didn't know. I didn't receive the PDFs.
Yeah. So I have not received it. So.
Okay, I think check out with him once. I will also follow with him.
Yeah, you can follow up with him. Thanks. But this is very good introduction. You know, it's very useful.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so we have 10 minutes more. Okay, I think I can't cover that one within 10 minutes. But basically, I think I gave what the foundation we need to have. So I think last Vishnu, you are the one asking this question, right? To cover the tables.
Yeah.
Right.
So just I want to know like how we can map to data sets.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I was missing this in my last session. So in my previous batches too. So this one should be the right way of doing. Maybe. Sure. Hope everyone is understanding. It's not getting deviated, right? From what we are talking.
No, Lakshmi.
Okay, perfect.
లేదు బయట ఉంది కదరా చూడు ఎక్కడ ఉంది అది.
Okay.
వాళ్ళు కూడా
I
అలాగే
think next time you will continue with that, how to define roles and all those kind of things, right?
In a security.
Yeah, because you said we will go to see how these roles are defined and in the screen and all that.
Yes, I'm going to do that actually. So next, from next session, actually we are going to talk about. We are talking about many job roles actually. We have seen compensation administrator or HR administrator or finance analyst. So we're going to talk about how Oracle has defined those roles, how it really makes us to understand what needs to be done and how we can assign that to, when we need to assign that to user. If we assign that to the user, what screens they can see, what data they can access, that level of details we will go into. It will give us a complete understanding about how the screen functionality, security functionality, data functionality work together. That will give us a complete picture, and from there you could able to do anything across any module with that knowledge, I believe. So we are going to talk about that next at least 3-4 sessions, only security.
Oh, great.
Okay, then we'll meet tomorrow and keep continuing the remaining topics. Thank you.
Thank you.